Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies. Welcome to my living room. I'm recording this video for the sales letter for the Point of View 30-day challenge, which you are on the sales page for. And I wanted to make the case around Point of View because it's not something that gets talked about a lot in marketing, which is a shame because I think it's actually one of the most overlooked pieces in the world of marketing, one of the most important parts of your niche, one of the things that builds the most credibility and trust with people, one of the things that can take so much of the pressure out of marketing and turn marketing from a seduction process into where you're trying to convince somebody into a filtering process where they get to really see if you're going to be the best fit for them. This is something that can build your confidence in what you do. There's so many benefits to this, which I'll talk more about below. All right, so if you're familiar with my work at all, then you know this idea about the two islands. There's this idea that we have Island A and Island B. On Island A, you've got somebody who's very sad. They're sad because they've got some sort of a problem, and they really want that problem solved. They've got some symptoms that they don't like. On Island B over here, you can see that they're very happy. And they're happy because they've got some result that they're craving. So then, in between these islands, of course, is water. And then here's your boat. There you are, as a captain. And your business is like a boat that can take them from one island to the other. I talk about this a lot in marketing as the journey, and how much, especially if you're a service provider, service-based business like a life coach or a holistic practitioner or a permaculture person, the need to figure out what this journey is primary, because what most people do is they just talk about the boat. They say, oh, it's so great, I do this unique combination of these modalities, which is all about the boat. And the best part is they can take you anywhere, to any island you want. And the challenge is that actually sounds really hyped up. That sounds not that credible. It sounds very vague. It doesn't work that well in marketing. It doesn't get people's attention. It just sounds like everybody else. You sound like a, just it's a commodification of what we do. And so in the absence of having a clear journey, what happens is we start getting haggled on price, where somebody's like, well, you basically do what everyone else does, so I'll just go with whoever's cheaper. So this idea of the journey is one of the most important things in terms of establishing relevance. Yeah, because if you've got this boat and somebody's here and they've got crippling migraines, let's say, and you come up with your boat and you're like, hey, my boat can take you anywhere, and somebody else says, hey, my boat can take you to this island where there are no migraines. Of course, they're going to want to get on that boat. They're going to want to get on the migraine-free island trip boat. So that's familiar if you already know a little bit about my work. But that's only for relevance. And relevance doesn't mean they're going to buy from you. Relevance just means now they're paying attention. So once we've established relevance, the second thing we need to establish is credibility, that they actually trust you, that you could help them make the journey from Island A to Island B. And this has 100% to do with point of view. So point of view comes down to three things within this metaphor. The first thing that comes down to, number one, is your map. So your ability to lay out the picture of what it's like for them to be where they are. A map that if they saw it, they'd be like, oh my gosh, that's me, that's my situation. Wow, you really get it. You understand what it's like to be me. The map would include them, it would include their problem, it would include the result that they're wanting. It would include you, ideally, as somebody who might be able to help them. It would include what prevents them, all of these things. So you can see even in this picture, this is the beginning of a map. It's an example of it. But when we think about maps, it's this ability to have empathy, to understand the situation somebody's in, the dynamics that they might be trapped in, and to be able to articulate it in such a way that they see themselves in it. That they feel recognized by it, that your map matches their territory. That's number one for credibility. And this map, I've used the metaphor of islands, but one of the important things in your map is to figure out the metaphor that's going to work best for them. The metaphor that you got to ask yourself, okay, when they have this problem, when they're in the middle of struggling with it, what is it that it feels like for them to be struggling with that? And then you kind of build your map around that metaphor. The second thing, number two, that your map is based on is your compass. Right, so if you're going to make a journey from one island to the other, there's a certain point where maybe you're out of sight of all the islands, and you've got to be able to direct yourself. And so having a compass on hand that can point you at where north is, you can know which direction to go, becomes vital if you're going to be on a boat. So the compass in terms of business for service providers, we're talking about the core set of principles or values that you have that you rely on, that take you from one island to the other island. So for me, one of my principles would be this idea that marketing is about filtering, not about seduction or convincing anybody. That's a principle for me. But also for the principles, you can think of the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz as an example of a set of principles. And you've probably seen this in a lot of businesses where they're like, here are the, the principles or the policies that our business is based on. So what's important is your principles, there's no sequence to them. These are kind of the elements that you think are most important in terms of you making the journey. The elements that are going to keep you in the right direction. The third thing is this idea of the route that you're going to take. So the route, it's an R, is the particular plan you have. So, if you've got this map, here, and here you are, X marks the spot, you might say, well, the best route actually isn't direct. You've got to go around here and around here in order to finally get where you want. And there's a whole reason why you plan that route. And that route usually has a series of stops. It's not going to be made all at once. So you say, first we're going to stop here, then we stop here, 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 and then finally we end up there. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. So if you think about the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, that would be an example of a route, a specific syntax and order of steps. Byron Katie's work, there's 4 questions and a turnaround in her work. There's a sequence, there's a syntax to it. Versus think of, for the compass or the principles, you can think of the 4 directions. You can think of the 5 elements of Chinese medicine. You can think of the 7 chakras. These are all sort of maps, but also sets of principles. Yeah, there's not a direct sense of order to them. So in this program, the 30-day point of view challenge, this is what we're going to be digging into. So I would say if you don't have a really clear sense of what this journey is that you take people on, this program may not be the best fit for you. If you don't have at least a beginning sense of your niche, it's just probably not going to work for you. If you're sort of, well, I help a lot of people with a lot of things and I do a lot of different modalities, this might help. This might help you refine. I don't know if it's the best timing for you to enter into it. But if you've got a pretty clear sense of at least the basic journey you help people on, for example, there are 4 basic journeys that you can help people on. There's money, there's health, there's relationships, and then there's kind of spirituality and meaning. So if you've got at least a clear sense that it's like, oh, okay, I help people around their health, around relationships, around money, around sort of meaning or spirituality, inner peace, all that, this might be able to help. The clearer it is, the easier it is going to be to hone in on your point of view. But this is what we'll be digging in with. I haven't designed the whole program yet, but my initial sense is that we'll spend the first week on the map, helping you design and draw that. We'll be sharing the maps that we come up with each other. We'll literally be drawing pen and paper and then scanning or taking photographs of those and sharing them in our private Facebook group. And then number 2, the compass, we'll be looking at what are the core principles that guide your work and honing them with a degree of clarity that you may have never had before. You've actually probably had it internally, but you may have never articulated it this well. And then number 3, we're going to be looking at the route. So what is the, if there is one, there may not be this for everyone, but we're going to see how close we can get you to a sense of the order of things. What's your process? What's your plan, your protocol for people who want to make this journey? What's your best sense generically of the route? I can't tell you how powerful this is in terms of marketing. It's an incredibly compelling process to go through for yourself to understand your own business better, but it will make you 10 times better at explaining it to other people and 10 times easier for them to understand it, because remember, the confused mind says no in marketing. So this is what we're going to go into in the 30 days. You're also going to get a copy of my ebook, which I'm just still in the process of editing around point of view, but I'm excited about it. And it's got dozens of examples of point of view in all those different categories we talked about. Real life examples from a lot of different businesses I know. So I'm really excited. I hope you'll consider joining. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions, and there's more information in the sales letter below. Thanks.